as we bring in the head baseball coach at Arkansas State, Coach Tommy Raffo. Coach, how are you?
What's happening, Brad?
Well, it's just the weather today would make you think you had a baseball game scheduled. But fortunately, it's one of the rare times it's raining out there, and you guys weren't scheduled to play.
Kind of follows us around, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Followed you to Troy even a little bit. More on that coming up in a bit. We'll recap the week for your team that started with a win that you had to work for and wait for at Southern Illinois. 10-8 the final in the back-and-forth game that I think was all said and done. Took 5 hours and change with a couple of lightning delays thrown in.
Well, I like how our team responded. It's one of those makeup games we pushed back and traveled to Carbondale. It's a 3-hour drive, and we got there for a 3 o'clock game. And we knew there was some weather coming, but at the same time, we're excited about playing. And we haven't been there in about 5 years. They redid their surface and their field, and it's really nice, press box. And so we got an opportunity to play and pitch Derek Brzezinski in that game, and got off the chutes really quickly against them, and then they came right back at us. And like you said, it was a back-and-forth affair. We had 2 lightning strikes, and we were probably within about 5-10 minutes of each delay of actually calling the game, believe it or not, working with their coach and their facilities and trying to figure out the lightning. And there was one point in time where the first lightning delay, if it would have struck one more time, we would have left earlier. We didn't. And then we continued to play. Then it struck again, and actually we set a dead time date in that game and said, okay, listen, if we don't have any lightning, we'll play at this time, and it ended up happening. So it's crazy how it worked out.
Yeah, for folks, and I think a lot of the folks, especially follow your program or are familiar with Arkansas State, because I think State fans got very acclimated with this back several years ago at a home football game that didn't happen against Memphis. But there's a bit of a rolling clock when you get in a lightning delay, and it's a 30-minute delay. But every time lightning strikes again, the 30 minutes start over.
That's right, and there's within certain miles you have to get actually off the field, 8 to 10 miles, and you got to provide that for NCAA rules for the the safety of the student athletes. So we were actually in the dugout and just kind of waiting around, and our guys it's kind of fun to see them together, relaxed and kind of waiting to play. And we did it twice. And by the time it's all said and done, I think that we didn't expect to get back so late. I think we got back around midnight. A 3-hour bus ride back, and we were supposed to leave at 7:15 the next morning. But our bus driver obviously had to have time off because he was going to take us to Troy. And we actually pushed the time back to give our guys some sleep too. We didn't get into Troy till 6:30 to practice that night, but it was a fun practice for us under the lights.
And ended up not mattering as much because it's funny, you guys had to make a call about Friday when really I think the sun was probably shining in Troy at the time, but you looked and right in the middle of that game, what would have been right in the middle of that game Friday night, the forecast was pretty terrible.
Well, yeah, Bobby Pierce, the home team, and he's their head coach, been there a while, and they kind of made that call early, and they wanted to make sure that everybody was on go for the next couple days and had everything set up right, and he called it right. I mean, it actually just poured and stormed right around the 6 o'clock mark just for a long period of time.
We'll talk more about that Troy series in just a minute as we visit with Tommy Raffo live with the Red Wolves. Especially from a pitching standpoint, what are the challenges of trying to navigate your way through a game that starts and stops, and just, work how to work your pitching through a situation like that?
Well, it's probably a nightmare for both teams. They're in Southern Illinois was really good. We talked about that, and we had to get back on the bus, and he didn't want to keep us, and he had a big weekend coming up, and we're trying to conserve pitching. At the same time, we had Colton Kibler into the ball game during that second lightning delay, and do we get another person up? And we wanted to leave town. We had the lead at the time, and so there's a lot of things that were going into it. And it played out to where there's 2 outs, second and third, where the 3-hole batter up, and Colton does a good job of striking him out at the end of the ball game. So now on the backside, you only have Thursday, Friday, then you play a doubleheader Saturday, Sunday. So you don't get that extra day to maybe rest a pitcher if they pitch on a Friday and maybe come back on a Sunday. And it kind of came back a little bit on some of our guys because they pitched Saturday and Sunday. And, gosh, I think Chandler and Colton pitched all three. They went Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and just did yeoman's work just to kind of keep us in some games. And couldn't ask for anything more for those guys. Their tank was empty when it left.
What's the difference in some of the things you're talking about? Physically, mentally, whatever, what are the differences between going doubleheader Saturday, single game Sunday versus your traditional Friday, Saturday, Sunday series?
Well, it's a little bit different. You get a little bit of a breather in between games. You kind of re-assimilate what you've seen during the other team. What are they showing you? Who have they pitched? What arms have they gone to? Who they have left? Those are all things that come into it. And but if you shorten it, which we've had a lot of shortened weekends, now there's not a lot of time, and you got to get it done quickly. And you got to be, if you shoot a bullet or if you pitch a pitcher for a long period of time, then they're not going to be ready the next day. We were actually forced to possibly do that Sunday, and not really ideal situations, but we had to do it just to kind of keep us in the ball game and try to make things work.
Doubleheader Saturday. I mean, this is. This has been a reoccurring theme. Is that you look at these scores: 3-1, 4-2, 6-5. I mean, low-scoring ball games, but again, ball games that across the board. I'm sure when you come up short in, you can go back to one or two at bats, many times one at bat, and probably change the outcome of the game.
We're seeing a little bit of one inning where it's kind of hurting us a little bit. For us, the other team scoring runs, and it's not so much, the one run or the solo homer that's really hurting. It's the one inning we got to prevent that gets them on the board and gets them going that we have to overcome. And it's kind of like a typical Troy weekend. We played them so close. Ever since we've been here, we played Troy very, very close and a lot of tough ball games back and forth. And this weekend was just like the other weekends we've ever played them.
We've also seen a couple instances, and I think maybe Sunday was another one where, and there is a certain amount of credit to go to your team, is that when it has gotten in a hole, they have not sort of just cashed it in on a game. I mean, even games that have come up just short, we've seen some big-time late comebacks out of your club.
They're working their tails off. It hasn't worked. And but the thing that again, the effort and the want to and everything has been there. And maybe we haven't been good in some moments and some things, but at the same time, I just the 6-5 game, it was playing in almost like a must-win for us. And our guys were playing in that mode. I mean, you should have seen them out there on Sunday doing everything possibly they could to help themselves, and they left it on the field Sunday. There's no doubt. Didn't come out the way we wanted, but at the same time, there were some really good things. We just got to eliminate that inning that's coming back to bite us some.
And it was the one time too. I mean, there's your guys are invested in so many levels. They want to win more than anything, but then in that Sunday game too. I mean, I'm sure as an offense they wanted to go and try to score some runs for David Owens. We talked about, because it's one of the few times he's really given up a handful of runs on the season.
Well, that was a big issue, to try to get at least one pushed across for David to make him feel, because it's been so hard for us to score with runners in scoring position for whatever reason. But at the same time, we push one across, and then all of a sudden we get another one, and then we get another one. It became a little bit easier for our guys to kind of get through the lineup. And that helped us, I think. Sometimes when you can get that first one, it kind of helps your whole offense.
The Sunday game, talk me through the series of bases loaded bunts, which is not something you see a lot of.
It's kind of interesting.
Did 3 of them.
I told our guys today, I said they played their home field advantage really well. Their turf is brand new. They just they redid their turf. And it's very slow. It's not a quick turf. And so when they had those hitters up at the plate and they were able to put the bat on the ball just kind of died. It was a weird deal, because sometimes it usually rolls to you. Sometimes, typically a lot of surfaces, it kind of gets to the fielder. And it's a force play, because it can be just a flip play right to Stewart. Well, the ball was never getting to our fielders, and they kind of played it, because they kind of knew what was happening. Even if we would have played Zach up, it was amazing. We had Zach up, but it was just it was almost like not enough. So they played it right. We didn't, we couldn't get stop it, and they executed.
Tommy Raffo with us live with the Red Wolves. Again, we're coming from J-Town's Grill until 6 o'clock here on the ticket. We'll talk more about the week ahead coming up. We'll look at the conference as we do each week. But, overall, again, a week where the results not what you're after. But I guess if you were going to summarize your team's week, sort of painted in broad strokes, what were your thoughts?
They're fighting, and that's all I can ask for our team. And the more they fight, I think the better. Sooner or later it's going to happen. So we're just going to stay with it and stay with them and stay with each other on this.
We're going to step aside for a timeout. More with Coach Raffo coming up later in the show. We've got a couple of players we're going to let you get to know as we continue live with the Red Wolves. Following a break, we are at J-Town's Grill right across Johnson Avenue from Centennial Bank Stadium. Come hang out with members of the A-State baseball team as we continue along after these words on the ticket. We're back at J-Town's Grill live with the Red Wolves here on 95.3 The Ticket as we continue along here on what has been a rainy Monday afternoon across Northeast Arkansas as we visit with a couple of members of the A-State baseball team now. Left-hander redshirt senior John Glidewell's with us, also Ty Michelati with us, senior out of Memphis. You guys, you want to pose for the photo?
I guess we should.
Let's jump in there. And first of all, we joked with Coach Raffo, but it's almost not much of a joke. Is that you look outside today and you just expect this to be a day you guys were scheduled to play. This is the kind of weather y'all seem to carry around with you.
Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy year as far as the weather's been. I think we have somewhere around like 18 to 20 games that's been, either delayed, canceled, or postponed, rescheduled. So it's definitely been a crazy year of baseball, weather-wise.
In general, John, but especially for a pitcher, you guys are creatures of habit. You love the routine. How hard has it been to deal with this ever-changing kind of schedule, not knowing exactly when you're going to get out there sometimes?
Yeah, it can be frustrating at times, but you just try to stay ready, and whenever your number's called and we play the game, just go out there and give your best, whatever day and whatever time you're going out there. So we just try to stay ready and be ready for changes, which we've had a lot of them, so we're getting kind of used to it at this point. So
same thing for that's how a starting pitcher deals with it. What about would you think that's a little bit easier to deal with for a position player?
I feel like it is. I feel like for a pitcher, it's more of a hassle, more of a probably a problem. I mean, if I was a pitcher, I would much rather prefer pitching in dry weather. But as far as infielders, outfielders, I feel like it's no fun to play in bad weather and rainy and wet. But I don't feel like it's as big of a problem for us, per se, for a pitcher.
All right, something we like to do with our player guests each week, and Ty, we'll start with you. Guy that came here via the JUCO route, but overall to sort of take us back through the path that led from Memphis to Arkansas State.
All right, absolutely. Well, out of high school, first off, I signed with a school called Delta State University, where I played there for a year and a half, and then I left. It just wasn't a great fit for me, So I decided to go to my hometown junior college team, Southwest Tennessee, where actually it was a perfect fit because I got to live at home still, and I played for coaches who I actually played for growing up in previous summer teams, so I knew all the coaches already. And one of our assistants was a former teammate of mine my freshman year of high school at Briarcrest. So it was a really fun process. And once I got back to junior college, I got to, go through the recruiting again to try to get to another, NCAA school. And with Arkansas State being so close to Memphis, I've always known about this school, this program, and everything. And, I just always thought it'd be an awesome option. And I reached out to the coaches, and it ended up being a great opportunity. I talked with other various schools, but Arkansas State I knew could have been, a great opportunity. And when I got my offer, I just knew that, it'd be a good place to go, and I landed here.
Now that's interesting because you said you reached out.
Well, it's kind of like when you're trying to get a job in the real world, you're going to reach out to people. It's not all just, they come to you. There are some schools where I even heard of them. I'd got phone calls, emails. And, but yeah, I reached out to Arkansas State. I think I might have done it while I was in high school. So there's kind of already been somewhat of a little bit of relationship there. And I just heard from the coaches, my first year at Southwest, and it just worked out.
It's maybe more comment than question, but that sounds like an awfully, mature approach to it, because I think, I'm sure you've seen it a lot of times. I mean, the recruitment situation, I guess a lot of times they're going to kind of have a little bit of entitlement and thinking that they'll sit back and just take the phone calls without ever having to deal with making a phone call.
Yeah, definitely. I think I know a lot of my friends, who didn't really do that, but I just figured, why not, reach out to coaches and see what could happen. And, some of it turned out well, some of it didn't. And, with Arkansas State, it worked out. And they came and saw me play. And when I ended up getting that phone call from Coach Raffo and ended up getting an offer eventually, I just, I knew that I was going to be a Red Wolf and, took that action.
Why? I know you're just across the river in Memphis, but what about Arkansas State intrigued you so?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a very close family. We're a really, really close, big family, and I didn't want to go far from home for school. That was a really big concern, and for my decision, I wanted to play somewhere close. Some people aren't like that, but for me, it was that was one of the most important things. I wanted to be really close to home, and, I just know Coach Raffo, his history with baseball. He's an unbelievable coach. And, Jonesboro, I talked with some friends who played here and former players here from my area. They said they loved it, loved playing for Coach Raffo. And, I love Jonesboro. It's small, but it's not too small. It's, perfect. I feel home here, when I'm not in Memphis. So those were, great facets that, helped me make my decision.
We're talking with Ty Michelati here, live with the Red Wolves. Came from a pretty tradition-rich high school program.
Yeah, I did.
You guys used to winning there.
Yeah, I had a really fun, high school career. We didn't, we got really close to winning the state championship my junior year, or senior year. I forget. It's been so long, but I really enjoyed my high school. I played for 2 different coaches, which was somewhat of a difficult transition. But in the end, I loved all 4 of my years there. It was great. Made a lot of good friends. And I really enjoyed it.
Now, John, for you, may have been fewer stops to Arkansas State.
Yeah.
Then the road kind of got curvy from that point forward.
A little different road for me. But yeah, how I ended up here, I started playing for the St. Louis Gamers back in St. Louis, which is a really great, year-round summer program. And Matt Whiteside, he's the head of that, and he pitched in the big leagues and actually went here. So, started playing baseball year-round, freshman year, training and everything, and he helped just to develop me as a pitcher. And in the summers, we'd go off and basically be traveling every week, playing showcases and just going across the country playing tournaments. And one of the stops was Jonesboro, Arkansas. We played a tournament here, and I pitched well, and Coach Raffo saw, something in me, and it just seemed like a good fit, so decided to sign here, and I'm happy that I did.
Now, for folks kind of fill in a little bit of the backstory, sort of some of the things you sort of had to deal with health-wise since getting here.
Yeah, came in my freshman year. just a little elbow soreness here and there, but wasn't really throwing too hard. I was, still pretty small. Then put on a lot of weight and size, and then went off and played summer ball my freshman year and had some success. And then put on some velo too the following fall, my sophomore year, and was actually pitching a lot better. And then that winter and early spring, the elbow pain started to come back, and I just kind of tried to pitch through it and wasn't able to do so. So ended up getting a medical red shirt before the halfway point of the year, and basically shut me down. We tried to rehab it and conservatively at first, and then once we realized that wasn't going to work out, ended up getting surgery May, right when summer started. And once you have Tommy John surgery, which was that's what it was, you're pretty much out 10 to 12 months. So from that point on, it was just rehabbing and doing everything I could to get back on the field, and did all the rehab, missed the following year with all that, and then was ready to play summer ball the following summer and just basically build up my pitch count and get some rehab starts in. It was going pretty well, as well as expected for not being on a mound in a year, and came back in the fall and was just working out in the weight room and maybe pushed it too hard or didn't listen to my body, and ended up, at the time I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. Just a small forearm strain, just didn't really feel right, and just through pitching with it over the fall, just kind of kept getting worse and worse, and I didn't want to shut it down since I've been out for so long already, so just kept trying to pitch through it, thinking that it would just go away, or just at least try to make it to winter break and shut it down for a couple weeks. But didn't go away, and it was really frustrating because there wasn't really much of a surgery, or it wasn't like there was anything to fix. It was just a matter of giving enough rest, and I tried to come back after resting a couple weeks, and it aggravated back up. So before you know it, that season was gone too, and didn't really know, because I wasn't responding to much of the rehab or the treatment, if I was going to be able to pitch again. So last summer, took off throwing for about a month or 2 months early in the summer, and then started, building up my arm strength and long tossing. The pain was gone and hadn't been back ever since. So I think just resting it paid off in the long run.
Talking with John Glidewell here, live with the Red Wolves. How tough a decision is that to decide to do Tommy John? Because the success rate is phenomenal, and a lot of pitchers come back better, but there just is no denying the fact that it's going to be about a 1-year deal. How sort of tough a decision was that to be faced with?
Yeah, you don't want to, being out the 10 to 12 months, it kind of scares you off from initially wanting to get the surgery. You try to just tough it out and pitch through it, but anybody who's went through it, the more and more you throw, you're less and less effective, and the frustration just builds to a point to where you just want to do whatever it takes to be healthy and to not feel any pain. So, I battled it for a while, but it got to a point to where I just wanted to do whatever possible to not feel any pain in my elbow. So, but yeah, like you said, the success rate is pretty high if you do the rehab right, and these days, with the minor and major leaguers and in college, if you pitch long enough, most people end up, having it, or a good percentage of pitchers have it. So it's one of those things that the science to it's pretty much down. So you just gotta go through the process and do the work, and you should be back, just as good as, if not better, as you were before.
Now, when you start talking about those sorts of things, and especially with Tommy John, you dealt with that, then a blister probably doesn't seem like much of a big deal, but that's, as a pitcher, a blister on a fingertip, I guess, is a bit of a nagging thing that is hard to go away if you want to go out there and pitch every Saturday.
Right. Yeah, it seems like my luck isn't the best with the injuries part. I got through the elbow surgery and then the blister, which, before coming here, or in the past, I had never had any issues with blisters. So yeah, I don't know the exact moment it happened, but it just kind of progressed to the point to where it just got bad, and then I just dealt with it for a few weeks, and we've pretty much tried everything to get it right, but it's one of those things you just got to deal with. Once you go out there, you just kind of got to forget about it and just do the best you can with what you got. You can't really use it as like a crutch or an excuse, so you just go out there and whatever you have that day, just compete and do the best you can.
Feel like couple of starts were really shortened by it. Just got to where I think it was giving you grip problems, but it seems like the last couple of weeks getting a little bit deeper and deeper in the games. Feel like you about have that kind of overcome.
Yeah, early on, when it was worse, just the main thing it affected was my curveball, and especially starting in college. I mean, you got to have more than one pitch, regardless, and if you don't, you need to have really good command. So it was giving me problems with my command and my curveball mainly. Yeah, some of those starts, Coach D realized that I wasn't going to be effective because it was bothering me, and other times it just got to a point to where I couldn't attack the zone and throw the pitches and execute like I needed to. But yeah, it's been slowly getting better, and hopefully the worst is behind us, and I think it's getting to a point now to where I don't think I'll have to worry about it much more.
Ty, you came in during the weekend series. I think picked up 3 hits over the weekend for the Red Wolves down at Troy. It's been sort of a question we've unfortunately had to ask guys sitting in this chair week after week, but when things seem like it, as from the outside looking in, things seem so close. And yes, it's having a hard time getting that one thing to go your way. How do you guys keep from sort of pressing and I guess keep getting yourself in position to win ball games?
Yeah, it's we just got to keep fighting everything we do and never give in. And past few weeks haven't been the greatest, win wise, and we've yet to find that conference series win, but our guys aren't giving in. We're just going to keep fighting everything we do, and go out there, give it our all, no matter what your role is, and everyone knows their job on the team, and just keep battling, keep grinding every single pitch, every game.
So wrapping up our time here, both a couple of seniors. So what's the plan next after Arkansas State?
Well, first off, I'm going to graduate this May, and go home. That's first off. I mean, I'm just going to enjoy my time at home this summer. I'm not rushing anything this summer wise, but I've been looking into a few different, trying to get into the business field in a different, not exactly 100% sure, but all I know is right now my focus is on just getting home, enjoying May, June, July, relaxing, we're going to Florida with my family. Got a mission trip planned, and I'm going to enjoy that first and foremost, and then I'm going to go that next step.
John, what about you?
Yeah, ideally, the goal is to keep playing baseball. That's everybody's dream. To keep playing and get drafted. But with that, you never know how it's going to work out, and it's such a up in the air. So you don't really know how that'll work out. But yeah, keep playing, and if that path doesn't work out and doesn't end up materializing anything, then I'm getting a business degree. So something in that field, just use my degree and start a career with something. Specifically, I don't know what. I'm just focusing on baseball right now, but I'm confident that I'd be able to find something outside of baseball once it does end.
Guys, we appreciate the visit, chance to chat, and look forward to watching you guys the rest of the way coming down the stretch.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having us on.
And John Glidewell, our guest, live with the Red Wolves. We'll shift gears for a minute, talk a little A-State bowling fresh off the NCAA championships when we continue from J-Town's Grill. Following these words on the ticket. We're going to shift gears and talk some A-State bowling. The Red Wolves just completed, I believe, their 8th consecutive trip to the NCAA championships, eliminated in the 3rd round Saturday in St. Louis. A-State All-American Sarah Locher is with us at J-Town's Grill. Sarah, thank you for stopping by.
Hi, thanks for having me.
As you mentioned, your old hat, 4 years here, 4 times in the NCAA tournament. with the outcome obviously notwithstanding and knowing that part didn't go the way you wanted it to, outside of that, size up your guys' trip to the NCAA tournament. How'd you perform besides the outcome?
I think we performed really well. I know we didn't have the outcome we wanted, but under the pressure situations, we became one team, and we worked our butts off.
You can say butts, it's all right.
And we came together and fought our hearts out to the end. We never gave up.
They tweaked the format a little bit, especially on the seeding day, where you usually cram all of that into the Thursday and then spend all day Friday in the bracket. Wasn't the case this year, so you've been around enough to do both. What were your thoughts on those changes?
I personally didn't see a big difference. They just added 2 more team games and just for seeding, and I personally like that because we get more practice and we get more time to see how the lane breaks down, and especially for the incoming freshmen, it was a good look to see how nationals is going to go.
Well, I'm glad to say you like it because I'll be honest with you. From the outside looking in, sure seems like an awful lot of bowling to just kind of get to the seeds and finally get into the bracket.
Yes, on that part, I do agree with you. I wish it was only about 5 games and then seeding and then bracket play because I personally love bracket play more than team games.
This NCAA tournament, I mean, it's 8 teams, and you do a whole season's worth of work to be one of those 8 teams. But, I mean, truly, do you feel like if the same 8 teams all got together this weekend, and then the same 8 teams all got together next weekend, and so probably somebody different may win it every weekend?
Yes, there's a lot of talent in those 8 teams for sure, and I believe that if we were to bowl next weekend and the weekend after, there will be different teams coming out on top.
It's a pretty sort of thin margin there because it is. I mean, it's the best in the country.
Yes, definitely.
You guys in bracket play pick up the opening round win over Central Missouri. Got out to the 3-1 lead, and then sort of to the Jennies' credit, they fought for it.
Yes, they did.
Made you actually, I think, come from behind in Game 6 to close it out.
Yes, they did. We got in the 5th or 6th game, we had some bad breaks, a few open frames, so they were able to jump us. But then in the 6th game, we took the win.
And then it set up Nebraska, which carries with it the biggest name
yes.
in your sport. And it seems like A-State and Nebraska are going to cross paths almost all the time at some point in time.
Definitely. They're our biggest rivalry for sure.
Talk us through the match against the Cornhuskers.
Well, we were 0-3, and then our coach came up to us and he gave us a pep talk about switching the momentum around, and it got through to us, and we came out hard and we shot 269 against them, and then obviously that flipped the momentum and we won the next 2 games, but then the next game we couldn't get it. So.
And then that knocked you into Saturday morning. That's where the 3rd round matchup came up against Wisconsin Whitewater, and they ended up sweeping that match. A couple of times you lost some close games that I'm sure you guys would think more times than not was low enough score that you should have won. And then all of a sudden they just kind of got going.
Yeah, we started out kind of soft that match. They came out with a lot of energy, and I think we wanted it too bad, so we pushed harder than we should have. And, they got more breaks than we did. They carried more, and that's how the ball rolls sometimes.
For a senior to come, now tell me, where is home?
New Baltimore, Michigan.
Michigan, to get to Arkansas State. Even in bowling, how does that happen? Because even though there are fewer programs, all of them, you're a kid, all of them wanted. Why Arkansas State?
Well, Justin Kosick recruited me through a summer tournament my junior year of high school, and he wanted me to come visit, and I did, and I love the campus. I love the girls on the team, and here I am.
4 national tournaments later.
Yes.
and a Player of the Year award. And then you got more bowling coming up, right?
Yes, I'm doing the women's tour this summer, and I'm very excited for that.
Now that's been the kind of, I guess that has kind of come and gone a couple of times. So it's somebody's running one.
Yes, it finally came back for this summer, so I'm very excited. Just in time after graduation.
So is this like, do you announce you're going pro, or what's it?
Yeah, it's pretty much a women's pro bowling.
Yeah?
Yeah. So very excited.
So is this you announcing you're going pro?
Yes.
There you go. She's so it's not that simple to just say, "Hey, I'm going pro." And so what do you do now to make sure you get out there when the time comes and stick out there?
It takes a lot of hard work and a lot of practice and a lot of commitment. So I'm ready for it, though.
Then what's the process to actually get in those fields?
Well, you have to become a member, and it starts July 7th, and then the whole summer I'm traveling. So I'll be living in a hotel room the whole summer.
What the most in your bowling career has gotten you ready to take that step?
I think just learning everything from my coach, Justin Kostick, and obviously being on Junior Team USA for 2 years in Team USA have given me a lot of experience, and I think I'm ready to bowl with the big guns.
What was I mean, 99.9% of us never be on Team USA in anything. What was that experience like?
It was amazing, especially just to work with the best coaches in the world and traveling with them. I will never forget that experience.
For the folks who may not know, again, we're talking with Sarah Locher from the A-State Bowling Program, former National Player of the Year, Team USA member. Where all did you bowl as a part of either the junior team or Team USA?
My first tournament with junior team, I went to Puerto Rico, and then we won the team gold medal there. And then I went to Hong Kong this past summer with the junior team. We won the bronze medal. And then this past summer also, I went to Mexico with the adult team USA.
When did you start as a junior bowler?
A junior bowler?
How old were you?
I was about 3 when I started bowling.
But at what point would you have ever dreamed that you would go bowl in Hong Kong?
I really wanted to do bowling, and I knew it when I was in middle school, going to all the high school tournaments, and I found out that college bowling was a thing, and I started looking it up online, and I knew I wanted to be NCAA bowler.
How many 300s?
I have 6.
How many of them in some sort of competition?
Only 1.
Only one?
Yes.
What was it in?
It was in high school, a tournament.
Really?
Yes.
What was that like?
It was amazing.
For you, at what point in a 300 do you even think the thought, hey, I've got a 300 going?
I say frame 7.
Okay. What's the hardest of the 12 balls to throw?
Probably the first one in the 10th frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'd agree. I don't think it's. I don't think
it's
it'd be the last one.
No.
I get it. I'm with you.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, congratulations on a remarkable career.
Thank you.
And all you've done at Arkansas State. Will you tell the fans that you're not leaving the cupboard dry? There's plenty of talent still here.
Oh yes, definitely. We have a great team, and they're going to do great things, for sure.
All right, including they're going to win a national championship.
Yes, they will. I promise you.
All right. Thank you, sir, for coming back.
Thank you.
Sarah Locher with us live at J-Towns Grove. We're going to take our final break, come back, and wrap it up with a look ahead with Tommy Raffo following these messages on the ticket.
like a double white chocolate mocha, please. And add 1 milk.
Tommy Raffo is with us. His team back at it this week, Coach. A midweek game. It's not just your run-of-the-mill midweek game. You know, there are enough Division I teams in driving distance to sort of fill your midweek schedule, but anytime it's a team from in-state making the trip either way, obviously it catches a couple of more eyes than normal maybe, and that'll be the case coming up tomorrow actually with UCA makes the trip up here.
Yeah, man, I think it's important that people in the state play each other in the state. And I think that's important no matter what Division I school you're at. I think that it helps everybody involved in the state of Arkansas. I think that grows the popularity of each school and the rivalries with each school, and I can go further with that, but I'm not going to.
It sounds like some crazy talk to me. I don't know. But tell us what. Tell us.
You probably hit that subject a bunch, I'm sure.
Tell us what you know about UCA.
Very good club. They're coached very well. They know how to pitch, and they got a pretty consistent lineup, and they defend the field. In their league, they've been doing pretty good. They I think they lost 2 out of 3 this weekend in Nicholls State, but Nicholls State's been doing well in their league too. So, you know, we played them for the first time last year, twice, and split, and so this is kind of a new thing for us playing them, and kind of getting used to what they do and you know what we do, and so it'll be kind of interesting the second time go round.
You play. I'll beat you to the punch. You play 30 of them. In your case, you play 29 of them. And then when it's all said and done, all 29 of them count the same.
They do.
But this weekend, you look at Appalachian State coming in here, a team in a similar situation from a standing standpoint. They're making the trip to Tomlinson Stadium. Or flip that around. I apologize. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I looked ahead one. It actually is Monroe. Thank you. It's the same type deal. Still 1 game difference in the standings. You're going to Monroe, so really important weekends. Period. Because you made the comment last week, and it was the same to a certain extent with Troy, that for a stretch here, you're going to be playing against the teams that you're competing with and really need to beat to make sure you make it to the Sun Belt tournament.
What a challenge. I mean, that's how you got to look at it, and I think that's how our team's going to look at it. What a challenge we have in front of us. It's still the opportunities there, and I think that's the neat thing about this game is you just don't know when or where or what's going to happen, and something falls in or doesn't fall in or how you play. And, you know, we want to get better at the tail end, and if we can get on a little bit of a ride here and roll with it, and that's the challenge for us, and we're excited about that opportunity.
In Monroe, you have a team that underwent a coaching change last year, finished the year with an interim coach who their players responded to very well and is now the head coach. And I'm sure they, too, like your team, are not in the situation they probably anticipated being in at this stage of the conference season.
Their lineup at Monroe is really good. I mean, they got a lot of senior hitters in that lineup. They've been around the block. So, you know, sometimes you can go through a couple lineups a couple times through and kind of get through it, and the hitters just don't get it. But these, when you have an upper class lineup, they have a short-term memory. And so these hitters will kind of, you know, they'll be ready to go against us. There's no question. And of course, we swept them last year here and had a good series against them. But, you know, they're going to be a much better club than we saw last year.
And sometimes folks maybe take some shots or take some liberties with Monroe and the way they draw in some sports, but baseball is the exception down there. They produce a very good baseball atmosphere.
When you go down the state of Louisiana, you're going to have an atmosphere. I mean, that's just the way it is for baseball, and they enjoy themselves. They cook out. I think in both places, Lafayette, Monroe, we've been able to eat or have a team feed afterwards. Invitation as far as, hey, feeding the team will take care of you. very hospitable. Now, during the ball game, very much not. But after the game, yes. So the only time the Monroe people have ever told me they have not fed an opposing team is Lafayette.
And honestly, both sides. I mean, that's the way you want it. I mean, they handle it right outside the lines and between it, because when you're between the lines, you want a good atmosphere, heated.
Yeah, they get it. I mean, that's the neat thing about it. And their bullpen's like right next to the fence or the concrete brick wall, and the catcher and the relief pitcher, whoever's getting loose, boy, they hear it. I mean, it's just. I remember Brad Wallace, he's a freshman. He's getting warmed up in there to throw, coming in relief, and you just hear him screaming at him before he went to the ball game. But that's just a fun of Division I baseball, and especially, going on the road like this and playing in these venues where we've been playing in. For
both teams, how much of the challenge for both coaching staffs this week is to believe what you just said, the fact that they all do count the same, and honestly, can you get players on both sides to go onto the field this weekend and forget about the standings?
It might be one of the best series possible going in this, looking across the board. It might be an unbelievable series to watch, when you look and the teams competing, what they're competing for. And, sometimes when it gets to that time of the year, especially on that tail end, each game means so much. Even though it counts as one, we talked about it, it means so much.
The top of the standings look the way they looked last week as far as the teams that are up there. Georgia State, South Alabama, Georgia Southern took care of business last week, as did Troy. I mean, that was 3 wins for them. Was big to get them to 9 in the league, and I think it was their 4th straight Sun Belt Series win.
Well, they've been able to put together some wins. I think they got swept early in the year against Lafayette. Now they've won 4 in a row series-wise. They had a bye week early, and then you got the 2 Georgia teams up there playing really, really well. Not surprised again, obviously, with the talent pool in the state of Georgia. And, their roster's full of a lot of Georgia kids, which should be. South Alabama we saw earlier, played them very good. Just didn't get the, on the tail end, the back end game on Sunday. So, I mean, it's, everybody's pretty even. There's no Lafayette from last year in this league. And I think that Georgia State, even though they're leading the league, the class of Lafayette last year was totally different. So these games, when you look at them, they're so close in the box scores. It's just unbelievable.
And as we've talked about a lot of times, even we've talked about it in terms of maybe when a team's trying to get in late. But same thing here at the top. Now all of a sudden, if everything stays the same according to schedule, because of the game that they lost against you guys, not get in. Now all of a sudden you got to win. You got to win one more game than Georgia State to take the number 1 seed away from them.
That helps Georgia State. That actually is a huge help for them, and so they're sitting really good. They're in the catbird seat. They got to continue to play well, and their offense. I think they're leading the league in offense right now, and I can see why after we played them. I mean, they got a lineup, and they got a great offensive philosophy of what they're trying to do with their players, and they bought into being very unselfish. And they've been executed very well. And so I've been kind of following up with them, and they continue to do that.
Being just Monday, do you sort of look ahead to the weekend rotation? Do you have an idea of how that looks to shake out?
Well, like we talked about, we pitch a lot of pitchers on multiple days. We're very concerned. Coach Dickinson wants to make sure, hey, we get an opportunity to kind of get these guys back and ready and recharged and to go for this weekend. And so we have all the bullets to shoot. Last week's Wednesday game, playing so late and getting back so late, that was a little bit, different to get ready for Troy. But we got to be ready. We got to have all the arms ready, ready to go. We got to have everybody healthy. And I think that's the biggest thing going into this weekend is just that, hey, what do we want to do? We got everybody going. We've had the appropriate rest time for their arms. Let's get after it.
And that's a good note to end it on. Let's get after it beginning tomorrow night, Tomlinson Stadium, 6:30 against UCA. Coach, thank you for the visit. Good luck this week.
Awesome. Thank you, Brad.